Carlos Ghosn resigned as Nissan's CEO in the spring of 2017, but he has continued to make headlines with an increasingly bizarre set of legal issues that now span the globe. Accused of financial wrongdoing while serving as Nissan's chairman and CEO, he's now at the center of a scandal that has resulted in his arrest, dismissal as CEO, and eventual status as an international fugitive, following an alleged escape that sounds like something out of a movie. What went right and wrong with Nissan? How did Carlos Ghosn go from one of the world's most admired CEOs to a wanted man? Sounds interesting. Alright, Business Bang got you covered, so stay tuned. If Carlos Ghosn was so well known, why did he behave so dishonorably? Carlos Ghosn's demise is one of the most incredible recent episodes in international corporate life. Carlos Ghosn was the rock star executive who resurrected and saved Nissan, the heavily indebted Japanese automaker, on behalf of Renault, its French alliance partner, in 1999. Carlos Ghosn was born in Brazil to Lebanese parents in 1954. Ghosn's family returned to Lebanon when he was 6 years old, where he spent the rest of his childhood before attending university in France. He earned his first job at Michelin after studying engineering at the École Polytechnique. In just 6 years, he rose from working at plants to managing a plant to heading up research and development for industrial tires. Ghosn was the chief operating officer of South America by the age of 30. He was promoted to COO of Michelin North America before becoming CEO less than a year later. Renault hired Ghosn as executive vice president in charge of purchasing, advanced research, engineering and development, powertrain operations and manufacturing in 1996. He grew in influence and power, eventually becoming a key power broker at the company. Ghosn was instrumental in the formation of the Renault-Nissan alliance just 3 years later. Renault purchased a 36.8% stake in Nissan, which was struggling at the time. He retained his position at Renault while also becoming Nissan's chief operating officer. He was the CEO of Nissan by 2001. By 2005, he was also CEO of Renault, making him the first person to be CEO of 2 Fortune 500 companies at the same time. Ghosn's tenure was widely regarded as a huge success. Operating profits increased 252% during the first year of his Nissan revival plan. Nissan was brought back from the brink of bankruptcy almost overnight. It wasn't easy. Ghosn's relentless cost-cutting strategy forced the company to cut 21,000 jobs, close plants across Japan, and sell off numerous Nissan assets. Most outsiders, however, saw Ghosn as a tough operator who did what needed to be done to save a seemingly doomed company. He ignored Japanese corporate culture's emphasis on job preservation, earning the moniker "Le Cost Killer." His results spoke for themselves. The Renault-Nissan alliance grew to become one of the world's largest automotive conglomerates. Sales increased as a result of Nissan's late 2016 acquisition of Mitsubishi, which gave Ghosn yet another title, Chairman of Mitsubishi Motors. It was a classic Ghosn move to find an automaker in trouble this time as a result of an expensive and humiliating fuel economy cheating scandal and throw them a takeover lifeline they could not refuse. The automakers discovered synergies in the process, and Ghosn consolidated his power. Ghosn's success earned him admiration, respect and awards. In 2001, CNN ranked him as a top global business executive. Fortune magazine named him Asia Businessman of the Year in 2002, and Fortune Asia named him Man of the Year. He was the first non-Japanese business leader to receive Japan's Emperor Akihito's Blue Ribbon Medal, and in 2006 he was made an honorary Knight Commander of the Order of the British Empire, one step below full knighthood. Many people believe Carlos Ghosn has succumbed to a cultural stereotype. This is because, despite receiving CEO salaries from all 3 companies where he worked, His pay was not exceptional. His salary was exactly in line with what other automakers, such as Ford and General Motors, were paying their CEOs. In America, large CEO packages are readily accepted. Japanese companies, on the other hand, tend to pay their leaders less. Carlos Ghosn attempted to alter this. He attempted to implement a meritocratic system in companies where promotions were traditionally based on seniority and tenure. Many experts believe Carlos Ghosn tried and failed to persuade Japanese investors to pay him a large salary. This arrest is part of a larger scheme. It could even be a ruse to get rid of him, as Nissan fired Carlos Ghosn as soon as he was arrested. Mitsubishi has publicly stated that it will do the same. Only Renault, the French company, will wait to see whether or not Carlos Ghosn was guilty. Claims of a conspiracy against Ghosn are also bolstered by the fact that Nissan stock has plummeted since his arrest. There would be no reason for investors to be concerned if a fraudulent leader was removed from the company. Many believe that if the allegations leveled against Carlos Ghosn were true, the stock market would have risen rather than fallen. Allegations and departure. Ghosn resigned as Nissan CEO on February 22, 2017. He continued to serve as chairman, but his protege, Hiroto Saikawa, would take over as CEO. Ghosn also continued as Renault's chairman and CEO, as well as Mitsubishi's chairman. Things were mostly normal for more than a year. Ghosn, however, was arrested by Japanese authorities on November 19, 2018, upon his arrival in Tokyo via private jet for alleged financial misconduct. Both Nissan and Mitsubishi fired him shortly after, but the imprisoned executive remained chairman and CEO of Renault until January of 2019, as the automaker and the French government continued to back him up, citing the principle of innocence until proven guilty. Nissan was the first to dismiss Ghosn, most likely because it was the automaker's investigation that led to his arrest. An internal investigation by Nissan revealed that Ghosn had been underreporting his income to the Japanese government for years. He was also charged with misusing company assets for personal gain. Needless to say, this is an act that the company will not tolerate. Saikawa, Ghosn's successor as CEO of Nissan, said at the time, Ghosn was fired unanimously by the board. Indictments, incarceration, and alleged conspiracy. Ghosn lost money on personal investments and transferred those losses to Nissan rather than paying them. Ghosn and Nissan were both indicted in Japan on December 10th for underreporting the executive's income by approximately $43 million. Ghosn was already in jail when he was arrested again on December 20th, with Japanese prosecutors accusing him of shifting $16 million personal losses to Nissan. Ghosn maintained his denial of all charges, telling the court that he had been unfairly detained based on meritless and unsubstantiated accusations. Ghosn resigned as Renault's chairman and CEO in late January 2019 after more than 20 years with the company. Renault was the only one of the three automakers he once led that allowed him to resign rather than fire him. However, Renault claimed that Ghosn improperly used company funds to pay for his wedding. After months in jail, Ghosn posted bail in March 2019 for 1 billion yen, that's $9.2 million at current exchange rates, the highest bail ever set in Japan. He walked out of the jail in an elaborate maintenance worker disguise, followed by a group of similarly dressed decoys, and into a van with a ladder on the roof rack. It was an attempt to avoid media scrutiny that backfired spectacularly. Ghosn was released on the condition that he remain confined in his Tokyo apartment, refrain from contacting people involved in the investigation, and pay a 500 million yen bond. That's $4.6 million at current exchange rates. Prosecution and evasion. Ghosn's release to his apartment, his successor, Hiroto Saikawa, resigned after admitting to receiving $450,000 in excess stock options. He agreed to repay every dollar, and Nissan decided to not charge him. Saikawa claimed he was unaware that Gone's former deputy, Greg Kelly, had set up an illegal payment method. Kelly, by the way, is one of Gone's alleged co-conspirators. Gone later pleaded not guilty to all charges on October 23, 2019. The Gone's wife, Carole, complained that her husband would not receive a fair trial under Japan's hostage justice system, and she asked for a trial in France. Her words echoed a long-standing criticism of the Japanese justice system, which relies on confessions rather than hard evidence. For example, in Japan, suspects are rarely released on bail without a confession. Prosecutors keep defendants incarcerated and under constant surveillance while they await a confession, frequently barring them from any outside contact, even with family members. This system is frequently criticized for violating both Japanese constitutional law and international law, as detailed in this Human Rights. These complaints, it should be noted, existed prior to Gone's arrest. On November 20, 2020, the United Nations Human Rights Council Working Group on Arbitrary Detention criticized the country's re-arrests of Gone as fundamentally unfair. The revolving pattern of detention was an extrajudicial abuse of process that can have no legal basis under international law. The Tokyo District Public Prosecutor's Office maintains that Gone was treated fairly, stating in a statement that his strict bail conditions were imposed because he was deemed a high-flight risk. His international connections and wealth no doubt contributed to that suspicion, which was later vindicated when Gone fled. In response to Gone's complaints about not being able to contact his wife, the prosecutor's office claims Carole Gone was involved in Carlos's financial misconduct and that they were attempting to prevent Gone from tampering with evidence through her. Gone, however, was not satisfied. Gone apparently decided he didn't want to face trial in Japan because he was fed up with trial delays, isolation, and the justice system in general. Instead, he devised a plan to flee to Lebanon, where he was raised. Thus unfolded an alleged scheme that sounds like something out of a cartoon. Several unverified reports claim that Gone hired a full Gregorian band to perform a holiday concert at his Tokyo apartment where he was being held. Gone then crawled into an instrument case with the help of a hired team of ex-Special Forces officer who specialize in extracting people from captivity, and the band carried him away when they left the apartment at the end of the party. Carole Gone, on the other hand, calls that account a work of fiction. On January 3rd, new information surfaced that Gone simply walked out of his house in full view of surveillance cameras. Because he was under surveillance but not house arrest, no one suspected him until it was too late. Regardless of how he left his house, the former CEO is said to have taken a bullet train to Osaka, where he met up with American security contractors Michael Taylor and George Antoine Zayek at a hotel near the airport. They placed him in a large audio equipment box and transported the box to Kansai International Airport's VIP gate. They allegedly used the fact that the airport's VIP terminal couldn't scan oversized luggage to get the box and thus going onto a private jet bound for Istanbul, Turkey. Despite the fact that his lawyer had all three of his passports, Gone was able to travel through Turkey and onto Lebanon, where he is staying. Turkey has already detained 7 aviation workers suspected of being involved in the escape, with officials investigating how Gone got into and out of the country and why that route was chosen. One airline employee is already facing criminal charges for omitting Gone's name from official flight documentation. Gone was already safe in Lebanon by the time anyone in Japan discovered his escape. According to the Wall Street Journal, he is living in a house purchased and renovated by Nissan for him while he was CEO. The company has been attempting to evict Gone's family since his arrest, but they are still reportedly living there. International conflict. Ghosn's evasive exit from Japan elevates this to the level of an international scandal. Interpol, the international police organization, has issued a red notice for Ghosn's arrest in Lebanon. A red notice is not an arrest warrant, but it's a request for a country's authorities to arrest a fugitive pending extradition, surrender, or other legal action. An Interpol red notice is issued on behalf of a member state, so Ghosn is wanted by Japan and Turkey rather than Interpol. A red notice is not legally binding, so the Lebanese government must decide whether to arrest Ghosn. Why did Ghosn select Lebanon? Apart from his family ties, the country is a relatively safe place for someone in Ghosn's situation. Because Lebanon does not typically extradite its own citizens to face trial in other countries, and Ghosn is a citizen, the only prosecution he is likely to face will be from the Lebanese government as long as he remains within the country's borders. France has also confirmed that because Ghosn has French citizenship, he will not be extradited if he appears in France. It is worth noting that Ghosn is extremely popular in Lebanon. The Lebanese government honored the executive by putting his face on a postage stamp in 2017, and while Ghosn has never run for political office, some have suggested that he should do so in the future. Ghosn would still face prosecution in France, including for alleged wrongdoing at Renault. Even in Lebanon, Ghosn is under investigation. It is illegal for Lebanese citizens to visit Israel. Ghosn visited the country on business in 2008. This infraction has already been reported to Lebanon's prosecutor by lawyers. What will happen next? Ghosn is currently an international fugitive, facing investigations into his financial conduct in Japan, and both Japan and Turkey are investigating how he escaped Tokyo and passed through Turkey without the knowledge of immigration officials. On January 7, 2020, Japan issued an arrest warrant for his wife, Carole Ghosn, for allegedly providing false testimony. Then in May 2020, Turkey charged 7 people for allegedly providing false testimony. With that being said, that ends today's episode. So what are your thoughts? Do let us know in the comment section below, and if you love to watch more videos like this, please subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like today's video. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.